The Orlando Magic the past few seasons have been a team that's stuck in the middle for the most part. They were never good enough to contend for a championship, but at the same time, they weren't bad enough to get a decently high lottery pick, aside from the 2017 to 18 season. But, I mean, a good way to describe them is boring, and they have no direction as a team. And today I wanted to talk about the Magic and my general thoughts on them, and why it's time for them to blow things up and tank. But before we do get started, I want to give a huge shout out to Orlando Magic Nation, and he requested a video on the Magic, so yeah, here it is. He's been a really big supporter of this channel. I wanted to pay back the favor by shouting out his channel. The link to his channel will be in the description below. So if you guys want to see sports content outside of me, make sure you guys check out his channel. Also, if you guys enjoyed today's video, do a favor for me and hit that like button. It really helps out the channel through YouTube's algorithm. Subscribe if you guys are new and you guys are a fan of the NFL or the NBA and you watch this content consistently, but you guys have not subscribed yet. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and it would mean a lot to me if we could reach that goal. Once we hit 1K, I will react to my first 2 videos. So if you guys want to see that and enjoy the videos on this channel, make sure you guys subscribe. There are videos like this already on the channel, and there will be more in the future. Also, follow me on Twitter. The link to that will be in the description below. And put any feedback or video ideas in the comment section below. But with all that being said, let's just hop straight into today's video. And let's start out with the Magic's roster. And let's start out with Markelle Fultz. And Markelle Fultz, as we all know, suffered a season-ending ACL injury, unfortunately. And, I mean, I should still give him a mention, though. I mean, Markelle Fultz was very good before his injury, and he's a really good source of offense who can make pretty well. He's a good scorer. He's also a really good finisher, along with being a pretty good mid-range shooter. Now, his three-point shot, not that good. Defensively, he's pretty solid. If he can figure out the three-point shot soon, I think he can be a really good player, and he's already a pretty good player, and he has really decent potential in general. And let's just hope that next year he can stay healthy and, you know, he can have a really good season and breakout, hopefully. But moving on, let's talk about Nikola Vucevic. Nikola Vucevic is the team's best player in my opinion. He's a really good offensive big man who's a double-double machine. He can score the ball very well. He's a really good shooter too, and he's also a really good rebounder. This past season, so far, he's been really good, averaging 22.5 points per game, 11 rebounds per game, shooting 50% from the field and 42% from 3. There is a small chance, there is a chance that he does get traded. More on that later. Well, kind of. But, I mean, he's still a really good player. The next player I do want to talk about is Evan Fournier, and Evan Fournier is a pretty good offensive wing. He's not a bad player at all. He's a pretty good player, and I mean, he's a nice player that I'm sure a lot of teams would love to have. And so far this season, he's been averaging 15 points per game, shooting 51% from the field and 35% from 3 as of the recording of this video, like all stats. Moving on, let's talk about Aaron Gordon. And Aaron Gordon, I mean, there have been numerous trade rumors about him in the past, but he's never been traded yet. And I mean, he's just not a good fit in Orlando. He's been forced to be a shot creator, which he's just not. He's more or less a really athletic Draymond Green. As the guy, I mean, Aaron Gordon's not a prolific scorer like James Harden or anything like that, but he's a pretty good defensive player, finisher at the rim, he's an okay shooter, and he's also, you know, a pretty decent playmaker too. This past season, so far, he's averaging 15 points per game, 3 assists per game, shooting 48% from the field and shooting 36% from 3. And I mean, he's just a good player in general, and there is a chance that he does get traded, but aside from that, he's just a good player. And let's just hope that maybe he can turn his career around. Moving on, let's talk about Cole Anthony. And Cole Anthony, he's a really good offensive guard, and he has pretty decent potential. He's a good shooter. Well, I mean, the shooting part, I mean, it's pretty iffy right now, but guards, they need time to get used to the NBA, as the guard positions are pretty hard to play. But he is still a pretty good scorer, and he's also a good playmaker. In this past season, so far in his rookie year, he's been averaging 9.5 points per game and 3 assists per game. Moving on, let's talk about Terrence Ross. And like Evan Fournier, he's a player I'm sure a lot of teams would love to have. He's a good source of offense who can create his own shot somewhat, is a good scorer, and is also a pretty good shooter. This past season, he averaged 16.5 points per game, shooting 44% from the field and 40% from 3. Next up, let's talk about Mo Bamba, who unfortunately, hasn't had a good NBA career, especially for a guy who had as much hype as him, who's drafted in the top 10. Now, Orlando's just not a good fit. I'm gonna make that clear. The Magic are just not the team for Mo. He's only averaging 5.5 points per game and 3.5 rebounds per game, shooting 44% from the field and pretty little playing time. There is a chance that he does get traded, and I really do hope that he does get traded if they aren't going to be trading Nikola Vucevic, since he still has okay potential. It's just not going to be fulfilled on the Magic because he's not getting a lot of playing time there next to Nikola Vucevic. Let's just hope that he can get his career onto the right track and can fulfill some of his potential. The final player I will give a mention to is Jonathan Isaac. And of course, I'm not going to be including any stats since he's not going to be playing this year. But he's still a really good player when healthy. He's a fantastic defensive player, along with being a decent offensive player. If he can stay healthy, I do think he can break out next year. Let's just all hope that he does stay healthy next year and breaks out. But aside from that, that's all I'm going to say about the Magic's roster. And it's a pretty decent one. They're not a terrible team at all. But they are not contenders. I'm just going to say it right now. They're not contenders. And I've said that before in this video. And you might be asking yourself, Rahul, why should they tank? And I know for Magic fans, it's going to be hard if they were to tank, since losing is not easy at all. But the reason why they should tank, in my eyes, is that they have no direction as a franchise, as I said before. They can't contend, as I said before. So there's that for you. And the Magic, Orlando is just not a big free agent landing spot. You got Disney World, but aside from that, Orlando's just not an attractive free agent spot. And I don't know if they will trade for some big star level player. The only direction to me, the best direction to me at least, is to blow things up and tank this year and trade guys like Nikola Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, and Evan Fournier. And as I said before, losing will be hard for Magic fans. But ask yourself this: what's Orlando's direction? And as I said before, it's none. And they need a direction. And that direction is going to come in the form of them tanking. And the 2021 draft class is loaded. So this year might be the perfect year to tank. You got a loaded draft class. What bet? Why not do it this year? If I'm Orlando's GM, I'm definitely trading Nikola Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, and Evan Fournier, as you can get pretty good value for them that can help you build a team. Some landing spots I thought of for Nikola Vucevic are the Hornets, Mavericks, and maybe the Trailblazers. With how he's playing, I wouldn't be surprised if quite a bit of teams would like a guy like him. Who doesn't like a guy like Nikola, who can do stuff like Nikola Vucevic? And Aaron Gordon, some landing spots I've thought of for him is the Trailblazers, Nets, Rockets, and the Spurs. And Aaron Gordon, he's far from a superstar, but hey, Aaron Gordon's still a pretty useful player to have. He's an okay shooter, and he's also a really good defensive player. So, if I'm a team that needs some defense, Aaron Gordon would not be a bad idea at all. But in conclusion, the Magic, it's time for them to tank and blow things up. They have no direction as a team, as I said before, and the Magic need a direction as a franchise. And the way they can do that is tanking. Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, and Jonathan Isaac, I don't know if they have that potential to be a number one scoring option on a championship level team. But if they can get a guy like that in this loaded draft class that's coming up this year, then I think the Magic could be on their way to contending if they can trade guys, get good assets, and build up this team. But with all that being said, that will be the end of today's video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. Subscribe if you guys are new and you guys are a fan of the NFL or the NBA. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and it would mean a lot to me if we could reach that goal. Once we hit 1K, I will react to my first 2 videos. So if you guys want to see that, you guys enjoy the videos on this channel, make sure you guys subscribe, as there are videos like this already on the channel, and there will be more in the future. But with that being said, you guys, I'm out.